a point, 56 to 55. So good to have you here on If You Don't Like That at the Half. We bring in Ryan in Sacktown. I'm going to start with the bench. I thought the bench in that first half was outstanding.
Grant, this team pulls together when a guy's out. We saw it last year. This is about as good as you can ask for of the first half if you're Mike
Yep.
Brown.
I loved it. Davion Mitchell put a little pressure on the defense by making his first 2 threes that he took. The Kings get a very balanced offense. I like their shooting percentage at, over 45% without Fox. We talk about assist to turnovers. Too many turnovers for me. The assist to turnover to me has got to get a little bit better in the second half. But again, you're playing without your all-star point guard, and there's a lot to like in that first 24 minutes.
Yeah, there is. And let's throw in Keegan Murray, only 2 points. It can only go up from there. But, Grant, the Kings are making up for some of those turnovers with steals. They have 6, which is a high number for them. So, obviously, Steph, Clay, not going to keep them quiet all game, but you got to like what you're seeing right now if you're Sacramento.
Yeah, the Warriors are turnover prone. They just have that bad habit, and the Kings took advantage of that. They had in that first half a very impressive total of 18 assists, but they turned it over 8 times. I'm talking about the Golden State Warriors. But, all in all, I really like what I saw. Again, you're playing a team that's really hot right now in the Warriors. I'd be a little concerned that Curry has not really gotten it going yet. In 16 minutes, he only has 8 points. He's been averaging over 30 here in the young part of the season. So look for him to go off in this second half.
Yeah, and Grant, it's okay if he goes off for 33, which he's averaging, but you can't have him go off for 50. So, but speaking to Davion really quick, if he can continue to keep hitting some of those threes, it's going to open up things for everybody because the Warriors are going under the screens on him. So, big time.
Yes, they are. And that's the game plan. And that's what Davion's going to see every time he's on the floor. They're going to give him the outside shot, and it's up to him to hit them. And, he took 2 threes and was like in the first few minutes of the game.
Yes.
I was like, uh-oh. When I saw Draymond Green hit the first 2 threes, I'm like, uh-oh, the Kings are in trouble. But we're not in trouble here because we got the one and only Jerry Reynolds joining us. Jerry, it's so good to have you here at halftime, 56-55. And I started off by telling Ryan I was so impressed with the bench in that first half for the Kings.
Yeah, they were terrific. Really, offensively, defensively, it really does start to look like you've got a new bench mob.
Yeah.
I think that you can feel comfortable that you're going to get some good performances. They come in and defense overall. Gosh, it's been pretty good. Steph Curry's just really been taken out of it. I think between Davion and Keegan and the double teams. They're going to make somebody else beat you. At least that's the hope so far.
Good game plan.
There.
Yeah,
good game plan.
The one thing I do notice when Davion's on the floor, the pace of the game is so different. He just can't push the ball like Fox. There's not many players in the NBA like Fox. So I do see the pace when that starting unit. It's a different style than when De'Aaron's playing point guard, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. Now, if I think one thing they could do if you want him to pick up throw it ahead. Just throw it ahead. Basically Fox can create numbers without doing that.
Yeah.
But the pass is always faster than the dribble, and so I think he could just throw it ahead to Harrison or Keegan or Domas and just get into things quicker, keep the pressure on. But that's a good point. That's. Watching him at Baylor, that's just not how he plays,
Well, first of all, thank you for saying that's a good point because I very rarely make them. So when you point that out, it makes me feel pretty good. I got to be honest with you.
Yeah, it hurt me a little bit to have to say that. But
Rhino, your thoughts on what you think will be the key here in the third and fourth quarters? For me, it's got to keep Steph Curry. He had 8 points in that first half. Again, we talk about he's averaging 33 already a game on the year. I know the Kings are doing a nice job on him defensively. I just got to figure Curry is going to do what he always does. So the question for Sacramento is, can you get the same production from the bench? I think if you can get the same type of production from your bench, Rhino, in the second half, I think this game's going to be up for grabs with 2 or 3 minutes left.
Yeah, absolutely, Grant. And we touched on at the top, Keegan Murray, only 2 points. But to kind of double down on what Jerry said, this could work out for the Kings because without De'Aaron Fox, if you have Sabonis playing the way that he's playing right now and the defense that the Kings are playing, You slow the pace down on the Warriors, you're taking shots away from the Warriors. So that could ultimately be an asset to them heading into the third and fourth quarters.
Yeah, I just think, that they're on the path to win. I think doing enough good things. I do think that as much as I want to see Keegan shooting the ball, I think he forced 3 or 4.
Yes.
He wasn't balanced up, and
No.
I think it's one of those things. I'm not quite sure I agree with the coaching staff here. Basically, anytime you can get a shot up, get one up. Well, no, that's not how he was so good and such a high percentage. Get your feet set. Certainly take stuff off the dribble. But like I say, I thought he forced 3 or 4 there, and he's playing great defense. But just be Keegan on offense. Take what the defense gives you.
You make a very interesting point about, the coach giving him the green light. That sounds fine and dandy, but sometimes that can work against you. And I think you just speaking of good points, you made a great point. The feet were not set on a couple of those long shots. He was off balance. And, I don't care who you are. There are exceptions. Steph Curry can shoot off balance, but that's not Keegan's game. So you're spot on. And I wonder if it's in his mind now, okay, I've got to shoot because the coach has told me that. And if not, they're going to take me out of the game.
Well, I do. I mean, there's so much was made of it in the last game or so where he took him out of the game because he passed up his shot. Well, you don't want him passing up good shots, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But you want him to shoot open shots. But I think that's kind of maybe the message has been missed there. Yeah, we want you to take open shots, good shots. You don't have to hunt for them.
Now, here's the key question that all of our viewers want to know. Was the trip to Tahoe to retrieve your phone a successful one?
It was very successful, only a 2-hour plus drive, and I thought I knew where it was and it wasn't there. So I panicked, but I got it. And, Ryan would have been funny as all heck is if he couldn't find a phone and then looked between the seat and the middle console and it had fallen down into, the underneath the seat. Now that to me, Jerry, would have had me in tears. So that has happened. That has happened. But usually, of course, me and Mrs. Reynolds are pretty much on the same boat. We know how to call each other to see if we can hear the phone when we lose it. That's old people way of finding your phone.
So you just can never have the phone on silent. You always have to make sure that the ring is on so you can retrieve your phone. That's how they do it at the Reynolds household?
We do now.
Unbelievable. All right, Jerry, what do you think for the second half? If you look at a key or two, what do you think is going to be the difference in this game?
Well, I think you guys hit on. I think the bench has got to be productive. I mean, I don't know if you can hold Steph to 8 points a half.
Yeah.
I mean, but just don't let him get going for 15 to 20.
Yeah.
So that's probably it. And then, I do think Keegan has got to start making some shots. You want him on the floor, but just, take and make some good open looks.
Yep. 0 of 7 is not going to get it done. Jerry, always good having you on. Thank you very much. Enjoy the second half.
I will. Let's get a Kings win. Boy, it's about time to beat these fellas from the Bay.
All right. You take care. Good stuff from Jerry. How about that? That's how you find the phone now in the Reynolds household. You just call one another. You got to make sure your phone is up loud,
Hey, whatever works. I was thinking you were going to ask him if he got a texting ticket on the way home.
I like this suggestion right here. We're going to implement the beam in Jerry cell phone so it can light all the way to Sacktown. We love that,
Yeah.
Serbia checking in as always. We love that. All right. Final score predictions. What do you have? Rhino, let's have some fun with this. What do you think?
I think if the Kings are gonna win, they've got to keep the Warriors below 120. So I'm gonna go with a Kings dub. They're scrappy when they're missing a player. I'm gonna say Kings 119, Warriors 117.
All right. I'm gonna say the Warriors are gonna win this game 122 to 111. They're up by 1 with again, I hate to say this, a unproductive Steph Curry.
Yes.
I say that in all due respect. The guy had 8 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, but I don't think that's going to happen in the second half. I think the Warriors offense will stretch this game out So I've got it 122 to 111 Golden State. I do.
All right.
Listen, I'm not going to be shocked if the Kings win this game. I'll be somewhat surprised, but I won't be shocked. But that's my take. Keep the scores coming. A lot of people say Kings W 115 to 112, and you can read them off the screen. But as David says, I've seen it too often. You can't keep Steph Curry down for the whole game. You just can't.
It's an assumption, right? You know he's going to get right. You just can't let somebody else go off around him like Clay last game, 14 points in the second half.
Wow. Well, yeah, we'll see. The Warriors opened up that double-digit lead early. They had the big lead, and the Kings came roaring back. They led for, a good part of that second quarter, but now it is a 1-point game. We'll be with you right after the game on the post-game show. So we appreciate you joining us. Here's the rest of the scores. Jay's got the Kings winning by 3. Josh has got the Warriors winning, I think. Cody's got the Kings winning 127 to 124. We thank you so much for all of the messages on the chat line. Sea-Dog's got the Kings winning 113, 112. A lot of confidence in those Sacramento Kings without De'Aaron Fox to beat the Golden State Warriors.
Grant, there should be. I mean, when you're missing a guy, especially a team that runs it back like the Kings did this year, you should be able to rally around. You're familiar enough. So good stuff. Well, I like the fans' confidence too.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be a lot of fun. Just real quickly, even though this is the halftime show, talk about the impact of not having John Morant and not having Steven Adams, who's out for the year on Memphis. They look lost. They look putrid. They're getting blown out in games.
There's no, I mean, short of Marcus Smart, who's new to the locker room, where's the leadership, right? And Steven Adams was always that, he anchored that defense and always gave you something on the offensive end. You've got a hole in that role right now.
Brutal. Absolutely brutal. Nothing brutal going on in Sacktown right now. It is a dandy of a game. The Warriors lead by a point, 24 minutes left. And again, Rhino and I will be back immediately following the game right here. So enjoy the second half, Ryan. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Apes.
All right, good stuff right there. And don't forget, again, right after the game, Ryan and I will be here on If You Don't Like That. Thank you very much for all of the predictions and the final scores. We'll see if anybody hits it right on the nail. Talk to you in a couple of hours, less than a couple of hours. We'll talk to you about an hour and 15 minutes. That's pretty much the way that will go. And congratulations to the Texas Rangers finally winning a World Series. And congratulations to my good buddy Brian Knight, who called a great game behind the plate. That's a win-win right there. So long, everybody. Talk to you after the game.